Hey guys, Michael Curran here with Pure Pursuit Automotive. I wanted to walk you around our new acquisition, a 2011 Jaguar XJL Supersport. All right, we'll start here with the engine, which is a 5-liter supercharged V8, making 510 horsepower and 461 foot-pounds of torque. The front of the XJL Supersport, very similar to the normal XJL. Not a whole lot of changes. This car is more of a subtle performance vehicle. It doesn't stand out and shout at you like an M5 would. Go take a walk around and kind of show you some more. All right, the wheels are 20-inch painted wheels with the, I love the bright red Jag logo in the center. Makes it pop, even though it's more of a still a subtle vehicle. One of the subtle cues about the XJL Supersport is this Supersport badge. Other than that, there's not a lot of way to tell it apart except for the performance. All right, we'll take a look inside here at this beautiful interior. We'll go into more depth in the interior in our interior features video, which you can find right along the sidebar. Now this is the XJL, the L standing for long wheelbase. So there's a few extra inches of car, so you can see plenty of legroom as well as those beautiful trays. We'll step around here to the trunk. We have the mats in the trunk now. Very large trunk. You can fit at least 2 sets of golf clubs in the back comfortably. We'll pop up this lid here. You can see the battery and the spare tire here, along with all the tools you will need to change it. Very unique, subtle feature here. This button is what opens the trunk. It doesn't close it. The closing button is here on the top. Now come down here. Again, as I mentioned earlier on the front, the back is essentially the same as a normal XJL. Keep that subtlety, but it does have these great looking exhaust pipes. Now this car's warmed up. I'm gonna hop in it, drive it a little bit so you can hear that big V8. Now with these, I like to start out kind of down and work my way around. So we'll start down here with all the different drive settings. So as you can see, this is the gear shift. It's very unique. This will pop up out of the dash when you turn the vehicle on. Simply put your foot on the brake and turn to select whichever one you want. Now you have several different driving settings here. You have a winter mode here, which kind of, has the optimal settings for winter driving. It keeps the traction control on. It makes sure that it doesn't, let you do too much. So if you traction control off button, you have to hold that down for several seconds, and then a light will come on to indicate it. Go ahead and do that. Now the traction control is off. We also have one of the best buttons in the car is right here. It's the dynamic mode. You'll simply hold that button down, and it'll say dynamic mode confirmed, and when that happens, the dials will turn from black to red. So you'll get a good sense of spirited driving. Now this next button down here says ASL. That's the automatic speed limiter. Now that'll make it so no matter how fast you try to drive, it'll only go to the limit you set. So what you'll do is you'll press once to turn it on. You'll get a little light that says ASL. Then you'll simply use the buttons for the cruise control, and you'll have a little yellow indicator, and you can just set it to whatever you want. So you get to set it at 70 miles an hour, and that way no matter how fast you try to drive, it'll only let you go 70. So it's a pretty, it can be pretty helpful. I'm gonna turn it off though. And then we have the electronic handbrake. Simply pull up on it with your foot on the brake, and then turn it back off. You press down with your foot on the brake. Now we're going to move on up to the HVAC controls and infotainment center. So HVAC controls, pretty self-explanatory. Your classic AC, auto buttons, simply turn the knobs, all that good stuff. Now we have all the buttons here for the audio settings. We have mode, so you can go from radio, Bluetooth, satellite navigation, as well as DVD or CD. Now this music button, you press that and it takes you to the sound settings. Press it once more, it goes back to the main screen. Now the infotainment system, it is touchscreen, but I prefer buttons. You can check menu, takes you to this general menu, and you can customize it to a degree by adding your own sort of side menus. Now this button is all the seat settings. So put air conditioned seat as well as massaging seat. You also have a heated seat as well. Of course, one more time to go away. Now, other than the climate controls, the audio, video, and the navigation, there are also some other settings, such as your parking cameras. So you can turn on the backup camera whenever you like. We'll go over here, check out the phone settings really quick. So as you can see, I have my phone connected to the system right now. You can type it in there with the buttons, or you can make the call directly from your phone. I prefer to use the audio button here. You press it, and you can kind of say, hey, call this person. I prefer to do that because it's more hands-free. All right, we'll come over here. We'll talk about the steering wheel and the gauges, because the gauges are pretty interactive. So, steering wheel, over here on the right side is this pad that controls the settings inside that right dial. So, when you push OK, come to the menu, and you can go through vehicle setup, so you can change things. You can turn off forward alerts, blind spot monitoring, high beam assist, all sorts of settings about the car, as well as your trip computer and any display settings. So if you wanted to, temperature, we're going to put it in Fahrenheit since it was not in there, confusing us with the car temperatures. So you can change a lot of different settings that way, and you can just navigate it by using the buttons on here. Now, keeping up with this, this car is equipped with a radar guided cruise control. So basically you would turn it on and set it with these buttons, and then these three back here are the cancel, and then if you can see this button here, click that one in to give you a larger following distance for the car in front, or a shorter following distance to the car in front. So what it'll do is when you set it to say 70 miles an hour, you'll follow the car at 70 miles an hour, but you'll follow it at a set distance. So if that car slows down to 50, you'll slow down to 50 and keep the set distance between yourselves. It's a phenomenal way to go on a road trip or go on the highway. It's pretty helpful. We'll come over here on the left side. These buttons here are all for the audio settings. So you can change through the different modes, such as Bluetooth, FM, CD, all that stuff. Volume and next track. Now here are all the phone and linguatronic systems. So simply, if you get in a phone call, simply press the green one. Or if you want to make a call, you press that green button, and it pulls up your recent last 10 dialed on the screen, and you simply press whichever one you want to call, or simply press that and it hangs back up. Or you can press this button and say a command, and it will do it for you.
Sorry?
Cancel. See, it works well. And then behind this button, I'm not sure if you can get the right angle, there's the heated steering wheel button, which when you press it, the little orange light will come on to let you know that it's heated. Otherwise, you'll know soon enough. This car also has a sort of paddle shifters back here. That's for when you put it into sport mode. You can use those, or you can let it do it itself. Another very interesting feature is that in this left dial here, when you're using navigation, when it comes up to turn, it'll show you the navigation, where you're supposed to turn, how far away, all that good stuff. So very helpful. That way you don't have to be glancing down at the main screen. This button is for the rear sunshade. Press it once, sunshade will activate. Press it once more, and it will retract. Now next to the sunshade button is this button here for the parking sensors. Turn them off or on depending on what their current state is. So if you're parking and they come on, you press that button, it'll turn off. Press it once again, they'll turn on. Now we have two sunroofs in the car, one of which opens, the other of which are controlled by these buttons here that will, when you press it, it retracts, covers it up, in case you want to get rid of the sun. Now for the sunroof, we have this button here, the big one. Press it once, it cracks it. Press it once more, it will fully retract. All right, once more, we'll close it partially. One final click, closes it completely. Now this car also has a home link system. It has 3 buttons here at the bottom of the rear view mirror that you can select any garage door you'd like. Some unique features about this car that aren't necessarily buttons would be this beautiful wood paneling across the entire front of the vehicle. Now this is made out of one piece, that way the grain is the same across all of it. This vehicle also has Bowers & Wilkins stereo, which is very good quality, very high quality, excellent sound. The contrast of the dark leather, light leather, and wood in this vehicle is something you really need to see in person. It's very, very incredible. I'm going to drive around, kind of give you an idea of what I'm feeling and how the car drives. We're going to head off now. So this is a 510 horsepower long wheelbase vehicle. So you expect it to be pretty quick, and it's very quick because the car only weighs 4,300 pounds, which, if to give you a sense of a comparison, we had an Alpina B7, also long wheelbase with similar horsepower, that weighed 5,300 pounds. It was very fast, but this is in another league. I'm gonna go ahead and put it into sport and turn on dynamic mode, which, as you can see, makes the dials glow red, which is something I very much like. So I'm going to give it a footful and show you what it's like. Yeah, so that's pretty quick. For a car that's 17 feet long, you could absolutely be embarrassing people, and I would say you could beat someone easily in a normal 911, maybe even a Carrera S possibly, because this thing will really go. Now, as you'd expect from a big Jaguar, it is very smooth, but you can tell the weight loss makes a dramatic difference in handling and acceleration. Now, we've driven a lot of cars in these test drive videos, and I gotta say, this is the one that feels more, I would say, driver-centric, if that makes sense. Driven lots of BMWs, Mercedes, and Audis, and this is one that feels like they actually thought, okay, well, this is where this button should be if you wanted to make it as comfortable as possible. And so that, and it really does shine through in just the ease of use of the vehicle, which is something that I don't know if is talked about a whole lot in reviews. It's more of, oh, this car's this fast. I think it's more, you're going to be driving this every day. You're going to want to be easy to use and comfortable, which it absolutely is. Now, in this particular Jaguar, the interior of it's a dark leather, a light brown leather, and a incredible wood. It's just, personally, it's my favorite combination of interior. But I think it adds a sense of occasion, especially with this clock face here. That's a nice blue face on it. It just gives you something it's more special. It's more interesting than your E63 or your M5 or your 760. We're currently behind a London double-decker bus somehow in the middle of Kansas City, so confused as to that, but we have a friend from England here. I expect him to break down. Now, this car, the rear legroom is incredible. It is absolutely, you can tell it's the long wheelbase version, but the thing is, it doesn't drive like a long wheelbase version. You'd think it would be kind of, labor when you go around turns, and as I mentioned earlier, the weight loss has a dramatic effect on the way it handles, and I think they've done a pretty good job managing what weight it does have and what length it has, because it handles and feels like a car that is, 4 feet shorter, if that. This car does have some interesting features. One of my favorite things to be fitted to cars nowadays is the radar guided cruise control. I absolutely love that. I'm not going to demonstrate to you now on city streets, but on the highway it absolutely shines. It's just so much easier to live with. Once you have it in a car, you don't want to go back. And of course, this car has heated and air conditioned seats and massaging seats, which I'm going to have a massage now. Give our camera guy a air conditioned seat. I imagine he'd like that. It's pretty warm out today. Now, something interesting about this car, also something I can't really demonstrate here on this test drive. This whole screen for the gauges is all digital, and so it has some interesting capabilities, such as if you were using it for navigation, the left side where the radio and fuel are located, that gauge turns into a sort of navigation mini screen. So then it'll help you. That way you don't have to look down here. You're always looking away from the road. It's right there, and it's actually pretty insightful, pretty helpful system. We've dealt with a lot of systems. I would say Jags is pretty good. Now you may notice there's a green triangle on the dashboard right now. That green triangle with the car inside of it is for your early brake detection. So it'll give you a very, very noticeable warning if you're about to hit someone. If it detects that someone's stopping and you're not going to be able to stop in time, it'll let you know, and it will stop for you. To a degree, it's not foolproof by any means, but it is an extremely helpful system. I haven't had to use it yet, so that's good. We'll thank our lucky stars on that one. Now this car is very Jekyll and Hyde, I'd like to say, because it is so comfortable and smooth and quiet that when you put your foot down, it's a very weird experience because it is way faster than you would ever imagine or it would ever let you think it would be. Pretty incredible, actually. All right. That concludes our test drive video for the 2011 Jaguar XJL Supersport. Hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to check out our other videos and check out the website at purepursuitauto.com.